Thank you for subscribing to our channel. Today is Thursday, March 11, 2021. CNN report. E-scooters embrace AI to cut down on pedestrian collisions. Electric scooter companies are turning to technology to try to reduce accidents and injuries among riders and pedestrians. The problem has become so severe that countries including Singapore, France and Spain have banned e-scooters on pedestrian walkways. A study of more than 100 riders surveyed at an emergency room in Washington, D.C., found that nearly 3 in 5 were injured while riding on a sidewalk, even in places where it was prohibited.
Al Jazeera report. Myanmar military murdered at least 70 since coup. UN. The UN Special Rapporteur for Myanmar slammed the country's military for the killing of at least 70 people since protests erupted against its power grab in February, citing growing evidence of crimes against humanity, including murder, persecution and torture. Talking about a horrible truth, human rights investigator Thomas Andrews told the UN Human Rights Council on Thursday that the country of Myanmar is being controlled by a murderous, illegal regime.
Al Jazeera report. Video shows Israeli troops detaining Palestinian children. Israeli forces detained 5 Palestinian children for several hours after they were confronted by Jewish settlers while gathering wild vegetables near a settlement outpost in the occupied West Bank, an Israeli human rights group said on Thursday. B'Tselem released video of the arrest in the southern Hebron Hills, in which heavily armed Israeli soldiers can be seen dragging the children away. Footage shot earlier shows the children gathering a kub, a plant similar to artichoke, when 2 masked settlers emerge from a grove of trees near the illegal settler outpost of Havat Mayon.
Fox report. Russia slows down Twitter amid crackdown on social media platforms fueling dissent. Russian authorities said Wednesday they are slowing down the speed of uploading photos and videos to Twitter over its failure to remove banned content, part of growing efforts to curb social media platforms that have played a major role in amplifying dissent. The state communications watchdog, Roskomnadzor, said it began the slowdown after it said Twitter failed to remove content encouraging suicide among children and containing information about drugs and child pornography.
BBC report. COVID stimulus. Biden signs $1.9 trillion relief bill into law. The bill includes $1,400 payments, an extension of jobless benefits, and a child tax credit that is expected to lift millions out of poverty. Mr. Biden said the relief package will rebuild the backbone of this country. The spending bill, one of the largest in U.S. history, passed Congress without a single Republican supporter. Mr. Biden is due to give a primetime address later on Thursday to tout the bill's provisions.
Deutsche Welle report. COVID. Several European countries halt use of AstraZeneca vaccine. Health authorities in Denmark, Norway and Iceland on Thursday suspended the use of AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine after reports of blood clots among some people who had received the inoculation. The Danish Health Authority on Thursday halted the use of the AstraZeneca vaccine for 14 days. It follows reports of serious cases of blood clots among vaccinated people, a statement read. However, the authority stopped short of saying there was a direct link between the vaccine and the blood clots. At the time being.
CNN report. Famine has arrived in pockets of Yemen. Saudi ships blocking fuel aren't helping. When 10-month-old Hassan Ali arrived at the hospital, doctors were hopeful they could save him. So many children in northern Yemen, after all, don't even get this far. Starved not only of food but also the fuel needed just to reach medical help. CNN watched overstretched doctors and nurses as they tried to give oxygen to Hassan, who had arrived 6 days earlier but wasn't putting on any weight, and was struggling to breathe.
Fox report. California man sentenced to 212 years for killing 2 autistic sons in staged car accident to collect insurance. A California man was sentenced Thursday to 212 years in federal prison for killing his 2 autistic sons in a staged car accident so he could collect on accidental death insurance policies he had taken out on their lives. Ali F. Elmazayan, 45, received the maximum sentence allowed by law. U.S. District Judge John F. Walter, who sentenced Elmazayan, Called the failed father's scheme evil and diabolical as well as the vicious and callous.
Fox report. Community rallies behind 7-year-old in need of heart transplant. After Lamere Johnson found out that he needed a heart transplant in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, his elementary school helped raise funds to make sure the surgery was possible. The effort has been dubbed Hearts for Lamere. However, the 7-year-old from Johnston, South Carolina, didn't just receive an outpouring of support from his local community. Within days, donations all around the country started to roll in to make sure he would be in line for a new heart when there was a match waiting for him. Mackenzie Corley, a paraprofessional at Johnston Elementary School who has been leading the initiative, told Fox News.
CNN report. Know the difference between a tornado watch, a tornado warning and a tornado emergency. If you are in an area under a tornado warning, seek shelter immediately. Warnings can be issued with only a few minutes to prepare. Take them seriously, it could save your life. They are most common in the U.S. plains and southeast, but have been reported in all 50 states. They can happen anytime during the day or night. So knowing the difference between a tornado watch and warning could mean the difference between life and death.
Al Jazeera report. Gaming platform Roblox's stock gains after Cathie Wood buys in. Shares of Roblox Corp jumped on Thursday, building on the gaming platform's almost 55% rise on its stock market debut a day earlier, as well-known stockpicker and exchange-traded fund (ETF) operator Cathie Wood bought into the company. The California-based company's stock was up 5.3% in late morning trades, after having risen more than 20% earlier in the day, also boosting the value of the shares held by founder David Baszucki, known to Roblox users as his avatar, Builderman, to more than $4.
Deutsche Welle report. Coronavirus. 1 year on from the WHO's pandemic declaration. Thursday marked 1 year since the coronavirus was declared a pandemic by the World Health Organization (WHO), with various global leaders expressing cautious optimism about the future. Today, the path out of the pandemic is still not yet clear, with more contagious mutations threatening to hinder the progress made by vaccinations, which were successfully produced after a lightning-fast quest last year.
BBC report. EU declared LGBT freedom zone in response to Poland's LGBT-free zones. The symbolic resolution was passed in response to local authorities in Poland labeling themselves LGBT ideology-free zones in recent years. Poland also plans to close a loophole that allowed same-sex couples to adopt. The Polish government announced its proposal for the adoption ban just hours before the European Parliament's declaration in support of LGBT rights. Same-sex relationships are not legally recognized in Poland, and the country already bans same-sex couples from adopting children together.
CNN report. Why the big numbers you're hearing about the border are only part of the story. The new details emerging daily at the U.S.-Mexico border are tough to track. It's a fast-moving situation, described by the Biden administration as a stressful challenge and decried by critics of immigration as a crisis. There are a lot of developments we're still learning in real time. Here's a look at some of the key numbers we've been hearing, the deeper stories behind them and the questions we have.
BBC report. China's parliament remakes Hong Kong in its own image. Could two entirely incompatible sets of values, authoritarianism and democracy, be held together, if not in harmony, then at least in some kind of mutual accommodation, in one city? This was exactly what the Sino-British deal of 1984 had in mind as it laid the groundwork for the territory's eventual handback to China in 1997. One country, two systems, as the formula is known, is meant to allow Hong Kong to continue until at least 2047 with its free speech, its independent courts and its vibrant, if limited, democracy, while the new sovereign power maintains its rigid, one-party rule.
Fox report. Wild video shows Ontario car salesman tossed from hood as thief drives away. Police in London, Ontario are searching for a male suspect involved in a vehicle theft that nearly killed a car salesman. Authorities said the suspect attended a used car dealership on March 3 at around 20 minutes to 6 a.m. Located at 080 Oxford Street East. The suspect exited a silver Audi. and entered the dealership to speak to an employee about a 2018 black BMW M4 on the lot. Surveillance footage released by police captured the incident.
Deutsche Welle report. Germany. Third Conservative MP quits as pressure grows over lobbying scandals. Just days before two key state elections, German Chancellor Angela Merkel's Conservative Party bloc was further bruised on Thursday by a third exit from a member of parliament. Mark Hauptmann, a lawmaker with the Christian Democrats (CDU) from the state of Thuringia, quit his seat in the Bundestag on Thursday amid pressure over lobbying allegations. His resignation follows departures, to varying degrees, by another CDU politician Nicolas Lobel, and Georg Nusslein of Merkel's Bavarian affiliate Christian Social Union (CSU) party, over alleged pandemic face mask business dealings that sparked criticism last weekend.
Thank you for watching 5 p.m. recap. To be notified, you can subscribe our channel and activate the bell.